What is up, everybody? I hope you're all doing well. Today we are checking out the Walrus Audio Mira Optical Compressor. It's a really great sounding, just warm analog optical compressor. I, in my humble opinion, prefer optical compression. It just sounds more musical. There's all kinds of different compressors out there. There's tube compressors, there's FET compressors, there's VCA compressors, and they're all great. I think I'm forgetting one, but they're all great sounding, but there's something about optical compressors that just feel better for me. They just are a little bit more musical. So let's get right into the controls on this thing. On the left, you have your threshold control. That's going to control when the compression based on input is going to start happening. We'll get into how that works in the demo. You have a ratio control, which on this pedal I think goes all the way from 1:1 at the lowest to the most extreme, I think is 20:1. We'll check that out in the demo. You have a makeup control. That is basically a gain control. So as you create gain reduction, which is what a compressor does with the threshold and ratio, you can make up, if there's a volume loss or gain loss, you can make that up with the makeup control. So we'll get into how that sounds. It works really well. On the bottom left, that potentiometer is your level control. It's your overall output, and that works really great with the makeup control. We'll get into how that sounds in the demo. On the far right is your blend control, which is really nice, especially for guitar players. So it allows you to blend the dry signal with the compressed signal. Works really great. We'll check that out. And then, of course, these two mini potentiometers in the center are your attack and release controls. The attack control allows you to control how quickly it compresses once you've hit the threshold and the compressor is going to engage. The attack controls how quickly that happens. So you can make it so it's super fast or a little bit slower in how it engages, and it changes the sound and the feel of the pedal. The release is the exact same thing, but on the opposite side. It's how quickly or slowly the compression circuit releases based on, once again, input. And that's really cool. You would run like a slower release time if you just wanted more sustain, but if you're playing super fast kind of funky stuff or intricate stuff, you may want the release to be a little bit quicker. On the side of the pedal, you have a side chain high pass frequency. It makes it so at around 120 hertz and down, the pedal will be less apt to compress as much. So as a guitar player, maybe you're playing some bigger kind of low notes or bigger chords, but then you're reaching back up and doing some kind of high, chanky stuff up top. What can happen is you go to hit your low note and the compressor compresses more than you would like it to. So if you push that switch in, it high passes that and keeps the low notes, or I should really say low frequencies, from compressing as much as the high frequencies. Now, it is very subtle with guitar, but it is a nice feature. I would think this would apply really well to like bass guitars and baritone guitars. And then, of course, you have your bypass switch. In and outputs are at the top of the pedal, which is always great to save space. 9-volt DC, though it does run an internal voltage of 15 volts, which is great to hit all these components with a more proper voltage. So without further yammering on, let's check out the Walrus Audio Mira. Okay, so let's check it out. I've got the Mira set for what I would consider, in my humble opinion, just kind of a basic, kind of funky compressor setting. So here's just the guitar into the amp. And here's the Mira. So yeah, that's, a basic setting that feels really great. It's not overly compressing. It's fairly fast. It's not super immediate in the attack and release. But yeah, let's just go into it. right now, let's just check out this threshold control. Threshold and ratio are controls that I love on these opto-style compressors because you can quickly change without really messing around with anything else. So in this case, let's say I want it to be quite a bit more compressed, and instead of reaching for the ratio, we'll do that next. I'm just going to reach for the threshold. So right now, I've got the threshold set. I would consider it kind of medium in how quickly the compressor engages based on the input. If I want it to feel even more compressed, and I'm going to go the extreme setting with the threshold, quite a bit more squished. Whereas around here in the threshold, because it's not engaging as quickly based on the input, that's about where I had it. So I can do just really quick changes if I want it to engage quicker or sound a little bit more compressed. Now I can kind of do the same thing with the ratio, but here's a threshold all the way the other way. It's not touching it, obviously, because it's not engaging the compressor based on input. I like it around here. Okay, let's look at the ratio, because you can kind of do the same thing with the ratio. If I turn the ratio to the most extreme setting, that's quite a bit more squished, because that's a lot of compression ratio. If we go the other way, basically nothing happens. So that's kind of the same thing. If I don't want to change at what point the compressor is engaging, and I'd rather look at how much compression after the point that it engages, then I'll look at the ratio. So same thing. If that's a little too squishy, I can turn the ratio down. Or if I want a little more, I can turn the ratio up. And then if I need to make up, gain based on the reduction that I just created here, then that's where the makeup control can come in. So these three controls are just really quick fixes. They're awesome. I really like the overall level control, because let's say you get this all sorted out and you just want to turn the overall level of the pedal up or down, you can do that via the level control. So what if I want to turn it down? So I'm not hitting the amp as hard, or I want to go the other way and actually have it bump a little bit. That's a really cool, once again, just really quick fix control. Like, if you're in kind of a workflow and you just need to change things quickly, the overall level is great. Now this blend control allows you to mix dry and compressed signal together, and it blends the two. If we turn it all the way to the right, that's going to be all compression. And you can hear it right away, which is a great sound if you really want to just hear all the opto compression. I like to blend it back in. A lot of players do. So as you go the other way, you're blending the dry back into it. So there's a little bit of that squish there, but there's also some more clarity from your amplifier and guitar. If I go all the way over, all that compression has actually been removed, and we'd have to actually gun the pedal because this part of the circuit isn't there. We'd have to turn up the level, but you get the idea. Around here, that's the ticket. I mean, in my humble opinion. It's to each his own, but that's a really nice control on, especially when you're dealing with guitar and, you know, using like an opto compressor. Okay, last but not least, let's look at these attack controls and release controls. Right now I've got it set up so the attack and release is mildly fast. If I want the attack to be really immediate, I can go that route. Feels great. If I want it to engage kind of later in the game, I can make it so it doesn't, you know, grab on as quickly. And that's another just quick change. Like the attack and release can really work together. But I think once you have these set, you can pretty much, you know, dial on the top three really. I like the attack to come in a little bit quicker. About right there, and you can hear it. As opposed to all the way over, it almost sounds like there's less compression. But that's, you know, once again, that's just the extremes, and it's to each his own. Now the release, right now I've got the release set up to let go fairly quick. In the extreme setting, you can see on the light here, it's letting go immediately. If you go the other way, so it lets go really slowly, you can see it on the light. Where you would want to do that is, you know, the attack and the release can kind of be the glue for everything when you use it together. But for me, if I wanted a slower release, it's because I want more sustain. As opposed to, you know, it's not really compressing enough. So I'd have to get it about here. But now it's letting go a little too soon, which I would want it to if I was playing more aggressively or just like a more busy part. But having it right there, especially at maybe a more extreme amount of compression, allows for more sustain. Especially if you're using the pedal to kind of boost the signal. It's excellent for that. Last but not least, I already said that, but I'm going to say it again. There's a switch on the side of the pedal, which for the most part, I think with a guitar, it's a fairly subtle thing. But if you engage the switch in, it allows the pedal to not take up or compress so much when lower frequencies are entered into it. It kind of changes the way that the opto compression actually triggers. So if you're playing a lot of low end stuff, like maybe big chords, and you don't want as much compression from the low notes, you can make it so it doesn't hit as hard. But really, I mean, I used it on that Strat part, and I thought it definitely helped, but I think that applies more to if you're playing bass through it, or just, you know, really big low-end parts. It'll change how it reacts to the low signals as opposed to the higher frequencies. I should say frequencies, not signals, but it'll change. It won't react as much to low signals as it will to high. And, you know, it just, once again, depends on how you're using it, but it's a really nice, it's a handy feature to have at your disposal. And I think that's, you know, it's really, just overall, this pedal is really, really well thought out and sounds good. So that is the Walrus Audio Mira. If you've got any further questions about the pedal, go to the website and check it out. And as always, I really appreciate you guys watching, and we will see you next time.